Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about overlooked movies. Basically, I just wanted to make a video where I could just talk about movies that I feel like nobody really talks about and I feel like should talk about because they are amazing masterpieces. There's so many great movies out there that people never ever give the light of day to, and I wanted to do that in this video. If you want this to be a series, let me know. The Prince of Egypt, an absolute masterpiece and shockingly the best DreamWorks movie, even though nobody ever talks about it. It's so great and so amazing, and for some reason it's so overlooked compared to the other DreamWorks movies, and yet it's better than pretty much all of them. The animation is absolutely fantastic. I love the color schemes, the way things are, like the way they design certain landscapes, the way the characters are designed, and even the way certain metaphors are used in the movie. I also love Moses and Ramses and seeing their character arcs and seeing them turn from friends to enemies. It's absolutely heartbreaking and terrible, but also at the same time you understand because their ideologies are so different that it just makes sense why they fell apart. Also the metaphors with them and seeing how they're so divided, and the way they do that is so subtle and it works so very well. Also the music is absolutely fantastic. The score is perfect. I love how it adds to the atmosphere. And when we have a couple of music notes here and there, they're so grand and elegant. And I feel like that's what this movie is. It's grand, it's elegant, the story is absolutely out of this world. I just love everything about it, and while I haven't seen it in a long time, I know it's just a true masterpiece at heart. This is by far the most underrated Burton movie and by far the best Burton movie. I absolutely love this movie for so many different reasons. First off, it is hilarious. I love how it parodies Ed Wood's life and how it takes all these things that happen to him and just kind of makes a whole big joke out of it. It's absolutely hilarious, funny, and balls to the walls and just great. The writing is so clever and witty with the way that it writes its jokes. And of course, having Bill Murray in here as a side character definitely helps at times, and my gosh, he's great. Johnny Depp also is fantastic at playing this character that really has a passion and love for making movies and makes questionable decisions as well, but also sucks at making movies, and sometimes he's not exactly the greatest person. He does make mistakes. He does make decisions that are questionable and does things he probably shouldn't do, but it's out of his love and passion for making films. And that is something that is very admirable and very interesting. And it's a movie that has this message, this idea that no matter what other people say, no matter what other people say about your idea, no matter what happens, always make the thing you want to create and never go against it, never doubt yourself. And I feel like that's a great motivating message, and I feel like this is a great motivating movie. Also, the cinematography is great in this film. It's just an all-around great film that's insanely entertaining, and I have a blast watching it all the time, but also I appreciate all the technicalities that come along with it. It is a very underrated movie, and I don't understand why this movie isn't appreciated more, as in my opinion, the best Burton movie. This is by far one of the most underrated animated movies I have ever seen in my entire life, and I would say my favorite animated movie of 2009, which was a fantastic year for animated films. I really had a hard time rating this movie the first time because it's so short and it feels like there's nothing exactly that pops out, but once you really look into the movie, yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Starting with the animation, I really love New York City. It looks like a gorgeous painting in a way. It's so well done, interesting, and while it being dark and gritty, it also is fascinating. And I just want to live in this world. It looks so beautiful. Also, I love the contrast between how New York City looks and how the suburbs of Australia looks. I really like how it makes it feel like they're in two different worlds and in two different places. And seeing that on screen, I think was very interesting, fascinating, and I feel like it works out very well overall. Also, I like the characters, I like their chemistry, and I like how they make it so they're able to communicate, even if it's through letters. It makes their friendship seem real and genuine, and I absolutely love it for that. The animation is great, even beyond just the setups. I feel like the certain ways they communicate how the letters are instead of just having them being read also works surprisingly well. Overall, it's just a really, really great animated movie that's also really enjoyable. And I can't believe that I liked a movie so much about just two people writing letters to each other. Paths to Glory. Now, this is a Stanley Kubrick movie that, while not exactly popping out a crazy ton in every way possible, is an absolute masterpiece in almost any way you could possibly imagine. The dialogue is amazing and perfectly crafted. I love the lines and how they're used and how they're executed, and I feel like they just work out so well. The cinematography is great, and there's some fantastic tracking shots that are absolutely top tier and masterful. I feel like this is the first movie where Kubrick really knew how to shoot a film. But the main part that makes this movie so great, the main part of why I love this movie is the whole concept of war, the consequences of it, the ideas of it, and the whole fear of it. And because that's what the movie's surrounded at. That's the whole point of the movie. That's what the movie's all building up to. It's about all these war soldiers that weren't going to follow orders and are now going to die because of that. Into commentary about saying, is this right? Is this wrong? Should they follow orders and just blindly, die for them, or is it reasonable for them not wanting to do that? Because it shows that war is messed up, war is crazy. They expect you to follow these certain orders and pretty much, commit suicide. And if you don't follow those orders, you're going to die anyways. It shows how messed up war truly is, and I feel like that alone makes it a masterpiece of work and one of Kubrick's best movies. It's looked at somewhat, and some people do really like it, but I feel like beyond when you're talking about Kubrick movies, no one ever really discusses this film. They just think it's pretty good or really great, but I feel like this is a movie that deserves more talking about, deserves more discussion, because it is one of my favorite war movies of all time and an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking.